Hey, we're back with Tanya. And I just want to introduce us. The last time we talked about Ellie Wazar, which is my reptilian incarnation, at least one of them. And BC is not an incarnation of me. She is, at some point early on in the first book, she becomes his mentor, Ellie's mentor, who is the blue crystal. I call her BC. So if you hear me saying that, it's blue crystal. And she was embedded with her seven sisters from the Pleiadians many thousands, millions of years ago, before there was even life on the planet, to kind of track us, track what was happening on the planet, track the humanity's evolution, Earth's evolution. So she holds the Akashic records. So Tanya, I know that when she first started to show up, did you have an experience with her?
I would say that the blue crystal was the first of the beings in the Multidimensional Memoirs, which when they first started, we just called shorthand the beings books. The first one that I really felt, and I think it's important for me to just name that, of course, as the universe had it planned, but man, did it catch me off guard. Um, for 2 years before I was introduced to Darlene, I actually studied telepathy with another teacher, and I was drawn into curiosity about what is telepathy, what's on the other side of meditation, what is consciousness, and what can we do if we can understand more fully what consciousness is. And so when I met Darlene, I had just completed 2 years of training of learning how to expand my meditation process to go deeper, not only in the learning how to get out of the way with my thinking mind, but also to open to receiving and to trust more and more what I heard and felt coming in. So I had been in a practice of just beginning to get a little more comfortable in that. And when I started working with the beings books, it was like, oh, accompaniment. And even though I knew I was working with the channel, even though I had spent 2 years growing my belief system that channeling is something real, it didn't catch it. It still surprised me. And the blue crystal, right, as the history keeper of humanity on planet Earth, as the holder of the Akashic, she has a most loving and it's like her presence for me felt continues to feel comparable to when I am with one of my dearest friends, that place of safety, right? And like, while she holds a wisdom and a guidance, that there's no judgment. And there was something in her very presence and who she is as a character in the memoirs, I think holds that beautiful space for Ellie and the healing and transformation that he goes through the books. But working with BC was amazing because I would call her in before sitting to write. I'd say, these books are so huge. There's so much going on here. I know that I can't figure this out with my mind. Will you help me, story keeper of humanity? Help me understand and see this a little more clearly. And so I would feel her come in, and I would feel her guide me in working with the manuscript. And I became a little fascinated with her. And at the time, I was working with another group of students who had been in the telepathy trainings with me with another teacher, and we would do a practice group of once a month or what have you. And I showed up a little bit late to the practice group, and there was a lot of just different energy in the room, and I was really excited to be engaged now in this new project. And what was amazing was I walked into the room a little bit late, had been, kind of in this other world, and sat down. And one of the women in the group, after a little while, said, and I had mentioned that I was beginning to do this multidimensional memoir work. And one of the women in the group said, "Is there any chance that one of the beings you're working with is with you right now?" And sure enough, BC was there with us, and the group needed some support in shifting energy. And she worked individually with each of us and in the room. And it was a profound experience that felt not only supportive and healing, but also was kind of the first moment where I was like, I knew I was working with this client, Darlene, and I knew that she was working with the beings, but it was my first time that outside of our duo, somebody else was able to see, sense, feel, and acknowledge just the partnership and the co-creativity that was happening. So that was my my first meeting of the blue crystal.
Thanks, Tanya. And in working with them as they've evolved from 1 to 12 to 28 to now the evolves, which includes a lot more multidimensionals that probably I don't even know as coming in one voice, they love to be utilized. I mean, they are here because what happens with that is the more we embrace them, understand them, accept them as part of ourselves, not the 28 necessarily, but your own multidimensional parts of you, the more you bring them in, the more the field opens for the possibility of the shift that we keep talking about, and how to change our life and how to raise our vibration and how to be more conscious and open our hearts. It's all about that for them. And then they can evolve. Like, they're not separate. I think that's the biggest thing that I learned is like, wow, when I do this in my internal work, and then synchronicities start to happen and things start to fall in place and clients start to come in that are talking about the same thing. Like, it's not by accident. When you get 50 things that start to happen in a week, all about one subject, right? That maybe I moved through first. It really, and then you see what changes with them on the multidimensional level. What do they bring in? Oh, now you're ready to hear this. Now you're ready to hear this because you just experienced that, right? And being utilized, I think, is a major thing with working not only in the multidimensional memoirs, but in having any access and understanding and depth of appreciation of who you are as a multidimensional being and not always human.
And that's one of the things that the books teach and reinforce over and over is this place of both, as Darlene was saying, the way that they are, the multidimensionals are so eager to be in support and in co-creation, to be of use, right? To be of service for a higher good. And but there's of course this law of non-interference where we have to be in a place of choice and of asking, right? So when we are still in a space of where I was, of not yet open to even believing in the potential that we could be in a healthy, positive, beautiful co-creative process with beings both from this planet and also from beyond this planet, it was like I couldn't take full advantage of that opportunity because I didn't yet believe in it, right? And what I love about story is it provides a platform where we can imagine a different way of being, right? That we can open into worlds and experiences, whether they are human or non-human on planet Earth or elsewhere, that our imagination can take us places, right? And working with multidimensionally, the imagination is a really powerful tool. But I teach online writing classes, and in more recent years, whenever I teach a course now online, I ask for a council of light beings to come in and work in co-creation with me and in highest service to the writers who have signed up for the class. And then I sit and I listen to see who is coming in to co-teach with me. And I remember, I had forgotten this, that the blue crystal showed up to help me co-teach a class with a group of writers. And early in the group, I introduced the different council members that were there, of whom Blue Crystal was one of, and shared just a little bit about her as the record keeper of humanity. And I am remembering now that one of the students had a really profound experience of her and was actually shown an entry point into a story and wrote an absolutely gorgeous short story that was facilitated, I would say, in some ways, of the ideas, or you could even say the metaphor, the inspiration that Blue Crystal embodied for him. And so I think it's in this ways where the books offer like a bridge, a platform where it allows our imagination to reach beyond what our conscious mind has been conditioned to believe or not to believe. And in that place of mystery and discovery and story, and you can call it make-believe if that's how it lands for you, it opens doors to greater parts of our consciousness, to see ways we had never thought of before that we might evolve and transform. And I feel like the Blue Crystal, with her tremendous compassion and her job of holding all of our stories without it being her job to make sure our stories are right or to fix anything, but rather to go, wow, Earth School, this is a wild planet, right? And here you all are
Right.
learning and evolving and growing and changing. And then to have her holding that, while at the same time we have Ellie, who, when you read Earthbound, you'll hear more about how they meet each other. But Ellie reminded me a lot more of me than the blue crystal, which is to say, Ellie, just like me, starts his story with a whole lot of insecurity, a whole lot of unknowns, a desire to be invisible. And a place of needing to do a lot of healing from the trauma of what it is to be in a body. And Blue Crystal becomes one of his most influential mentors. And I would say that she has also become one of mine.
Thank you, Tanya. I think it's a good place to continue at another time. What'd you say?
Sounds great.
All right. See you guys.